Hello everyone, my name is Alicia Jade and welcome back to the Get Me Off podcast. Right, welcome to the podcast, Sophie.
Thank you very much.
Amazing. So let's start with the obvious question. Who are you and what do you do?
So my name's Sophie Tannous, and basically I work in the construction/property industry internationally.
Amazing. That sounds really interesting. How did you get into that?
So basically, I have a background in construction project management. So I had my career was going really well in the UK. I was in my 20s, and I was headhunted by a consultancy in London.
Wow.
And they sort of said, you know, there's an amazing job here for you in London, and there's also one in Dubai. So obviously
that's like it's what everyone wants to hear, isn't it? Here, there's this beautiful hot country, there's a job waiting for you.
Exactly. But actually at the time I kind of, you know, being English, I just sort of thought, oh, well, you know, London, that's within the comfort zone kind of thing. And it was actually a conversation I had with my mum, and she was like, well, why wouldn't you go to Dubai? You know, you're reading about it all the time.
Yeah.
And she was right. So
amazing. And we've literally just been saying earlier, sort of before we started, about the differences between Dubai and England and things like that. And how do you feel about the differences and things like that? Which one do you prefer? Do you like them for different reasons?
Well, obviously I sort of didn't know anybody in Dubai. I'd never been at all, but I'd read about the incredible construction projects over there. Literally jumped on a plane and I was working on some of the Zaha Hadid projects.
Oh, wow.
And the most iconic projects in the world. I mean, the exposure over there is incredible. It's also a real cultural melting pot. So that was amazing exposure from a business perspective.
Yeah.
You know, seeing how different cultures manage their businesses and how it all works. So I think obviously for the pure exposure terms, you know, Dubai was absolutely the making of me.
Oh, wow. So how many years did you spend in Dubai? Obviously, you're here for a bit now. How many years did you spend in Dubai, and then spend here? What was kind of the ratio of where you spent your time?
So basically, I stayed in Dubai for 15 years after that first.
So you hated it?
Yeah. It was wonderful on every level. And I obviously in construction project management, you know, it's a very male-dominated industry.
Yeah.
And you know, being a 20-something female, it was a bit of a baptism of fire. But I'm a very confident person, and I also learned Arabic, so I speak, read, and write Arabic, which you know stood me in good stead. And that
it almost is like a respect thing, isn't it? So they're like, oh, okay, well, like you have the foresight and the motivation to learn our language and to incorporate yourself in our culture. So I guess
definitely, yeah, it's definitely a respect thing, and also it just helped in terms of bridging the gap between, you know, obviously doing contractual work on site, bridging that gap between the Brits and the Arabs, really.
Yeah.
So I sort of started off in construction project management, and then I got pulled into business development with some of the biggest developers in the world. And also that led me into real estate as well. So I have my own real estate consultancy now internationally with a co-founder who's also female. And together we basically sell off-market projects and properties, private islands to ultra-high net worth clients.
I'll take a private island. I'd love one of those. That's amazing. And in my head, all I can think about is like Selling Sunset, but Dubai version. So can we pitch that to Netflix as like your new show? Because
it's funny you should say that, because we've actually been approached by
Stop.
Yeah, a TV company, quite a well-known one, and they're very interested in early next year starting filming on something.
That's so exciting.
We're still sort of, you know, talking about the details, but it's definitely going to be around female entrepreneurs. We actually partner with a lot of female entrepreneurs in the luxury sector. So, you know, women who've got their own private jet firms, yacht charters, artists, and
anything to do with that kind of lifestyle that would fit in.
Yeah, we use those people as a sort of concierge, and we prefer to work with women where we can.
Yes.
Because obviously working with ultra high net worths, we have to trust who we're working with.
Absolutely.
So that's also going to be included in the TV show that will be around female empowerment, female entrepreneurs.
I love that. So in terms of, and this is something I wanted to mention, in terms of your industry, obviously, as you say, it's a very male-dominated industry. Was it difficult to get into that as a woman, or do you think, like, because obviously we think of different industries and think, oh my God, there's so many challenges, I'm a woman, I don't know if I can do that, all of this kind of stuff. Do you think there's still major challenges and things that we have to face as women in male-dominated industries, or do you think it's quickly becoming more well-known that it's fine? Like, because obviously it is fine, but is there more women in the industry now?
There are definitely more women in the industry, but there's still that stigma around engineering and, you know, what background you come from. So I think it's important to, you know, if that's your passion, if you're interested in property and real estate or even construction, you know, go for it, get the qualifications, and then learn on the job as well. Obviously experience goes without saying. But I think confidence is key as well. And I think, you know, being confident in what you know and projecting that forward, knowing your worth in the industry, it stands you in good stead as well. So it's definitely becoming more popular for people to sort of follow their dreams, really.
Yeah, definitely. And do you think there's extra challenges that women face? Or is it kind of the same challenges, just in heels?
Yeah, I think there's lots of different challenges, really, and I think a lot of it comes from, you know, ego and that kind of thing on sites.
From the men?
Yeah, I would say so. But, you know, as soon as people realise that you know what you're talking about and you can go in there and challenge people, I think it's, you know, it speaks for itself, really.
Yeah, definitely. And I get what you say about confidence. In those situations, obviously, there's probably people listening that have their own business or want to have their own business, or maybe are years ahead into their own business already. When it comes to things like talking to high net worths and like private equity people and all of those kind of things that people that we probably wouldn't come across in our everyday lives, how do you have confidence with those kinds of people in yourself and not get that whole imposter syndrome? Oh my God, this person's got X, Y, Z millions, and how do I impress them? How do you get over that? And any tips and tricks that you have?
I mean, I think
put you on the spot.
I've always been a very, very confident person. So I used to sort of go in my 20s and pitch to sheikhs where, you know, grown men would be literally quivering.
Yeah.
I've always been quite confident because at the end of the day, they're just people like you and me, you know. I mean, I don't have that sort of
just with more gold.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it's all about building relationships with people, and when they trust you and they know that you know what you're talking about as well, and that you're confident in what you're offering. I think building those relationships is key.
Yeah. And I think, like you say, once you've built up that trust, it kind of, you're already a step ahead in a way. And also that comes with very word of mouth also, because I'm guessing in your industry that is something that is really, really helpful. And I met with a potential client yesterday who someone had recommended, and the person who'd recommended me, I've known for over 10 years. Yeah. So it's kind of like building those relationships and knowing that you've done something well enough for 10 years that someone is still recommending you that much that time later.
Yeah, and I think it's also, you lose sight sometimes because you know what you know and you think that it's, it's nothing really, you know. But
like
actually,
general knowledge.
Yeah, and you know, you get people sort of offering services for nothing almost because they feel, oh no, you know, I'm not worthy, or, you know, and that's wrong. You know, what you've built up in your educational background and your experience as well is extremely valuable. And I think never losing sight of that gives you that confidence to, you know, promote yourself and talk to others. And another thing that I would say is networking is really important. So I belong to a couple of networking groups, one in Mayfair and one in Surrey, and that's a female entrepreneurs group, which is fantastic. And I think having exposure to others who are going through similar businesses or, you know, challenges or hurdles is also really, really useful to build that female network so that you have that to fall back on if you're in a male-dominated industry as well. You know, you can brainstorm or sort of talk about issues that you're having at work and that kind of thing. So socially and business.
I love that because it's kind of, especially in a culture now where we have so much work from home and so many people kind of almost isolating themselves and working, because I do it. I sit at my desk at home for days and I won't leave the house, and I'm like, well, I don't need to. Yeah. So it's nice when you end up in a room with people who you can bounce ideas off of, and you come up with new ideas and new strategies and things that you didn't think of, and then you can go back to your little isolation bubble and continue working and that kind of stuff.
Definitely. I think networking is key, and having that sort of, they say your network is your net worth.
Oh my God.
That's so important.
That is my favorite line, and I feel like I'm getting to a point now where I've built up my network for maybe, I don't know, 10, 12 years, something like that. And now it's starting to pay off.
Yeah.
So it's almost like I call it a little black book in my head, because I'm like, oh, I have a person for that. And oh, I know somebody who does that and this kind of stuff. And it's not about, it can sometimes sound like you're using people, but that's not true, because everybody benefits when you make connections that are really useful. So I love that concept. It's one of my favorite things.
One of the networking groups I actually belong to, I mean, that's the whole premise of that group is, you know, you go to meetings thinking, what can I bring to this meeting? What can I bring to others, rather than what can I take?
Yes.
And actually, when you go in with that collaborative approach, magical things happen in business. You know, things evolve, and you're just like, you know, there's so many pinch me moments that have come through, you know, somebody recommending me, or somebody saying, oh, go and meet this person when you're in Dubai. And it's like, wow, you know, it's been really magical in that sense.
I love that. And I find it so interesting, like the projects that can come out of things when you just speak to people. And this is another thing as well. Like, I think in the UK, we're very funny about speaking to people that we don't know. Yeah. And that can really make a difference in terms of like the networking and stuff like that. And it doesn't always lend itself well to kind of speaking to strangers almost. So for example, if you're someone that's going to like a networking event and doesn't know anyone, it's your first time or second time at a networking event, what's kind of like the conversation openers that you could have with people aside from kind of what you do, I guess?
Yeah, I mean, it can be quite intimidating for some people to walk into a room full of strangers, as you say, and not really know where to start. But I think pushing yourself outside of your comfort zone is so important, I think, socially and in business. You know, if you can just launch yourself into a conversation with somebody, you know, perhaps, you know, the what do you do kind of thing is probably, which industry are you in? I'm quite often asked that, to just open a conversation. But I think you've just got to be confident, and you've really got to push yourself. I mean, even in social situations, you know, when I came back from Dubai, I knew nobody. And, you know, in the school playground, for example, of my son's school, and I felt absolutely ridiculous, but I just sort of muscled my way into a circle of women and just, oh, hi, you know, I'm new here. And, you know, people respond really well to that, I find.
Yeah, I think so. And it's people like friendly people also, which is good. And that brings me on to our next topic, which I find very interesting. I don't have any interest in having children. I've been quite vocal about that. I'm very happy just being me, and then potentially in the future a partner, and dogs and horses and cats, obviously. But I can't imagine doing what I do now and having a child, let alone more than one. How on earth do you manage the work-life balance, that age-old saying of work-life balance? How on earth do you manage that?
I think it's a real juggle, daily juggle. I have twins, and I have a singleton as well. So I have 3 boys. And I have to be honest and say that I do find it a lot easier in the Middle East, because, you know, you have other women in your life, other sort of people helping you as a mum. You get a lot more support over there. And I think the sort of opportunities in terms of the way that they appreciate family over there, it's a little bit more like the European style, you know, where family is key and it's more important. I do find it harder here, I have to say, because you know, you're almost supposed to sort of wear 2 hats, and you're trying to do everything, but you can't really do everything at 100%. So you're sort of compromising as a mum or as a businesswoman. It is very difficult here.
So almost like one of them has to give in a way, which is really sad, because it's kind of like we're told that we can do everything, but in actual fact, that's really difficult. Like, I mean, I know for the last couple of weeks, I've been working from sort of 8, 9 a.m. until 1 a.m. and then sleeping and getting up and doing the same thing. And I mean, if I had kids on top of that, I wouldn't be able to do that. So that probably halves my work time. And it's like, it's just difficult. But obviously, I guess, I don't know, some people would say obviously having a kids is a choice you make and that kind of stuff. But it should be a way that you still feel like you can do everything that you want to do.
Definitely. And I don't think the sort of load that mothers hold here has quite the same impact. Like in the Middle East, I know that the press here like to sort of make out that the Middle East, women are oppressed and all this kind of myths. But really it's far from that. You have support at home. You're able to give 100% to your business. You're able to give 100% to your children.
Yeah.
And also, regardless of children, having time for yourself to step back. And,
Oh God,
otherwise
absolutely.
burnout is a thing, and you need to give yourself time. You need to have time
Hobbies
with your partner.
and
Perhaps you need to have time with your girlfriends. You need to have hobbies. You need to, well-being is a huge part. And in the Middle East, everything is sort of quite well catered for in that regard.
That's amazing. I love that. And I like that you say it's kind of European as well, because you have sort of au pairs and things like that in France. And I don't know why it's the culture here that we have to do everything by ourselves, and everybody is told to do everything by yourself and be really independent. And it's because it's almost self-deprecating in a way.
Yeah, it's not realistic. And then you end up giving 50% to each thing you're doing and feeling guilty about it.
Yeah.
Which is not right, is it?
That's the worst thing, is the guilt as well, that you're not doing enough, you're never doing enough, you're never caught up, all of that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And it sort of, because there are statistics and stuff out there about when kids see their mum and the dad working and things like that, and it makes them more motivated and this kind of stuff. But also, kids need to feel like they're being given time to, and I think a lot of the time we confuse that with giving them gifts and money and things like that, when actually sometimes all they want is to sit down and watch a film with you or something like that.
Yeah, your time. I mean, time is way more important, isn't it, ultimately, for children?
And that's what they remember.
Yeah.
Like, I don't necessarily remember what toys I had as a kid, but I remember different places that we went and this kind of stuff. So, but then it's like difficult trying to fit that all in.
It is.
It's crazy.
Well, particularly in the UK, I would say it's missing a trick in some way. I don't think that females are particularly held in high esteem almost as much as they are in the Middle East.
Which is interesting, because like you say, you would never believe that from like the media and the attention and stuff that the Middle East gets, and what I guess people's stereotypical thoughts about Dubai and Middle East and stuff like that would be.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of misrepresentation in the media about the Middle East, particularly Dubai. But yeah, the reality is it's almost like a win-win situation for everybody, because everybody's there working, and earning amazing salaries and being able to support their own families, and working together as well. And there's a very happy vibe there. Most people are very, very happy over there.
I need to visit. I've never visited. I mentioned earlier, there's been about 3 people in the last couple of weeks that have said they want to move to Dubai. And I'm like, what is it about this place?
Yeah, there's something about it. They say once the sands of Dubai have settled on your shoulders, you'll never shake them off. And I do think that is absolutely true.
Wow, I've never heard that saying.
Yeah.
Wow, I definitely need to go and visit. Absolutely.
Definitely. I mean, I'm being pulled out there a lot more in the next year. I've got some events and things going on over there. And obviously, in the real estate sector is absolutely booming at the higher end. So you'll have to come and visit.
I know, absolutely. Interesting question. So real estate in Dubai is obviously very expensive. Do the high price tag properties sell just like an average home in the UK would? Like, are they still really in demand? Is Dubai still kind of like buzzing and that kind of stuff?
Yeah, so the Dubai real estate market is absolutely booming. And it's not just at the top end, it's sort of right from the bottom end as well. People buying holiday homes there and investing there. For us, we actually sell to the ultra high net worth, so we're looking at sort of 25 million sterling and above. And yes, those houses also sell like hotcakes.
Wow.
I mean, it's you have to constantly check your stock with clients, because things are sold from under your feet.
Wow.
It's very, very fast moving over there.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
I don't know if it sounds like my kind of place or not my kind of place.
Yeah, you'll have to go and experience it, I think.
Yeah, I feel like you have to do everything once.
Yes,
everything
most
once.
definitely. Yeah.
So in terms of, obviously, there's that very exciting potential project on the cards.
Yes.
Heard it here first. What's next for you in terms of living, working, projects? Like, what are you excited to do? I know you mentioned that a podcast was on your sort of bucket list.
Yes, here I am.
So we've ticked that off. What's next for you on that bucket list?
So Potentially a move back to Dubai with my family at the end of next year is on the cards. I'm basically working with a female colleague over there, and we're working on a very high level event for women actually around May, June time. So we're busy putting all the wheels in motion for that. That'll be quite a high profile thing. And basically expanding and evolving my business in Dubai, as well as I'm being pulled out there a lot more. There's so much happening there. We've recently actually, we held an event in Mayfair 2 months ago, and we unveiled a concept villa design based on a diamond collection as well. So
I like the sound of this.
Always things going on, to be honest.
I really like the sound of this, if I'm honest.
There you go.
It sounds amazing.
Diamond encrusted floors, and
Stop.
The sky is the limit in Dubai, really, and there's no.
I feel like the sky's
budgets.
not even the limit. I feel like it's like way past that. They're like,
Yeah.
the sky, bought that.
Exactly. Everything's bigger and better, and the quality is absolutely exquisite. So yeah, you'll have to come over, and I'll take you around a few things.
I need the full tour after this. I expect my feet to come back with diamonds on them.
Well, there's so many fashion collaborations there as well. There's Cavalli Villas and the Armani Hotel, Versace Hotel, and
yes.
So from your fashion perspective as well, the collaborations are incredible. And like Cavalli, every door handle is sort of the signature snake, and it's exquisite.
I was looking at I had an Instagram ad come up yesterday, and it was the Prada mugs and like dinnerware set.
Yes.
And I copied the link and I put it in my family group chat, and I put, one day when I'm a millionaire.
There's the Prada Cafe as well, isn't there, in London?
Yes.
So yeah, loads of collaborations and things.
Amazing.
And I think a lot of the car companies are collaborating out there as well with, there's the Bugatti residences coming up now, and
oh wow.
Yeah, all sorts of things. So yeah, very exciting.
Oh wow, that's really cool.
Yeah, and they're also opening up the new Palm Jebel Ali. So the Palm Jumeirah Islands, there is now a bigger palm. They've just launched the new Palm Jebel Ali, which is basically, the Palm Jumeirah existing.
The famous one.
It's a little bit further along, and it's, of course, bigger and better all the time, always expanding and improving. So, yeah, there's so much going on at the moment in real estate in Dubai.
That's amazing, and I feel like it's a really exciting industry to be part of and to get involved in. So for anyone who has perhaps watched Selling Sunset or those kinds of things and wants to get into real estate, or people that are already in construction and stuff over here and potentially fancy a change, what are your nuggets of advice, your golden nuggets of advice for anyone that wants to get into kind of real estate, construction, that kind of thing?
I think it's just about, getting your qualifications and then getting more experience on the job. I think if you have the opportunity to travel, also, the positions and the exposure in the Middle East, for example, Saudi's booming, Dubai's booming, it's potentially a good idea to get on a plane and go and seek out those incredible contracts.
I love that. It's kind of like a do it while you can thing.
Definitely. I mean, I never thought that I'd be on a plane, selling my house and getting on a plane and going to this destination that I'd only read about in magazines.
Never been to.
It's just sort of, it's just really scary. But
yeah.
I mean, things that scare you, I think, always leads to something incredible. And it was just, it was absolutely amazing. So always take a chance, always push yourself out of your comfort zone as well, I think.
I love that. I love that. And I love the whole do something every day that scares you or that kind of thing. Because sometimes that's not physically possible. But I think in a general sense, it's kind of like, because I'm such a perfectionist and I'm very much like, well, if it's not perfect now, then I'm not going to do it. Like I wait for the right idea to come around. And that's also not very feasible because there never is a right time. Yeah. Like for you say you just packed up and went. Like if you waited until you overthought it or you, I don't know, researched more or whatever, you maybe wouldn't have done it.
I possibly wouldn't have even, if I hadn't had that conversation with my mum, for example, who's also really into travelling, I possibly would have, taken a London route and be in London still and never have been exposed to such incredible, life-changing projects, I guess.
It's amazing, isn't it, that every single decision can change your life so drastically. And I always find that so interesting. I always wanted to move to France when I finished uni, and I wanted to this is my little romantic romanticizing life phase in my head. And I wanted to just go and work in a bakery or a bar or a restaurant or something like that and spend my days in a cute little apartment, like, I don't know, reading books and drinking wine and eating cheese and learning French and this kind of stuff. And I don't know, I feel like potentially I missed the boat because now I have so many responsibilities and things that I've started and I'm almost on that roller coaster where I can't really stop.
Yeah.
But then I think potentially in the future...
Oh, yeah. You've never missed the boat, I don't think. I don't think anyone has missed the boat. I think you've just got to go for your dreams, really. But I would say also, obviously, you know, there are risks.
Of course.
That possibly are not great risks to take. For example, you know, thinking that you're going to get this... we've all seen the programs about, you know, people running off to Dubai and trying to get a real estate contract and then, you know, commission-based role where they don't have any money. You know, those kinds of risks are not great to take.
No.
So I think...
Calculated risks.
Yes. And I think also utilising contacts.
Yeah.
So, you know, if you really have a need to go to France or to Dubai or wherever that might be, you know, trying to network a little bit and find an inroad. I think it's good to have
before you go.
Before you go, yeah, definitely.
And I guess it makes you feel safer once you're there as well. Because you know people, like I went to Bali recently on my own for 16 days and I had 2 friends that lived there. So that for me made it a lot easier to find out about the local places and things like this. And I did a lot of research on my own. I spent a lot of time on my own anyway. Yeah. But it was nice to have that safety factor of having people that you know there.
Yeah, definitely. I think there's a lot of misinformation as well, isn't there? Especially for females when you're on your own and you're traveling.
Oh, I mean, God, yeah.
You know, Dubai is absolutely just the safest place in the world. I mean, you just feel safe all the time. There's no crime there. So that's another pull for, you know, real estate investors who are bringing family or females on their own, etc. Very safe place too.
Amazing.
So, yeah.
Oh, amazing. Well, thank you for coming on and sharing all your wonders of advice. I love it. I love talking about sparkly things.
Yes, me too.
Amazing. Well, obviously I will post the link to your Instagram and everything like that, where people can find you.
Perfect.
Where people can see everything that you share from your beautiful, glamorous life in Dubai.
Well, I'm always happy to advise as well. You know, I do some business mentoring too, and I'm always happy to hook people up in Dubai, you know, if they're looking for opportunities. So, feel free.
Amazing. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you everyone for listening. It's been another amazing interview. So make sure to subscribe, like on Spotify, wherever you find your podcasts. And we'll be back again with another episode very soon. Thank you very much.
Thank you.